Hey everybody, Poor Conservative here, and today we're going to do something a little bit fun. Got a half of a Boston butt, and we're going to take that little piece of bone out of there, then we'll get on with what we're doing. I bought this piece specifically because it had just that little tiny piece of bone in it. Get more meat for the same price than getting the pieces that have all the big bones in them. Now we flipped it over. You can see there's a lot of fat cap here. We're going to take as much of the hard fat off, but we're going to leave the soft stuff if we can. So we're going to need that. Okay, got it all cleaned up. Left some fat on there because we don't want it all off. And now we're going to square this up. And we're going to chop down most of the excess meat, and then we're going to save a little bit for a small roast for dinner tonight. Okay, this piece we're going to save and use as a roast for dinner, and the rest over here we're going to chop and mince up. And we save the fat just in case we might need some extra fat, but I don't think we're going to make the patties for the McRibs. And as you see here, we've done a 1/4 inch dice. This is about half of the meat. And we're going for about an 80-20 mix of fat to lean. And we're going to put this into the freezer and get a little bit of a chill on it, firm it up a little bit before we start cutting it down. Okay, we've semi-frozen the meat again, and we're going to put it into this little mini chopper and try and chop it down a little bit. Well, we gave it a whirl. The little processor doesn't work that great, so I guess it's back to the chop. So we're doing small batches at a time, using the cleaver method. You can do it with a knife. If you've got a meat grinder, just run it through a large number 10 disc, and it'll be a whole lot easier than doing this. But this is what I chose to do because I didn't want to get out my meat grinder and have to clean that all up afterwards. And the processor didn't work real well. So this is the way we're going about it, and we'll get all the meat done and go from there. It's working pretty well so far, getting nice and chopped up without becoming ground, which will become mushy. You can use ground if you want to buy ground pork at the store and save yourself a whole lot of work. I like to know where my meat comes from. My cleaver is very sharp, so I don't have to take great strokes with it. Okay, once the meat is all chopped to a somewhat fine but coarse consistency, if that makes any sense whatsoever, because it's a mixture of fine and coarse chop to get more texture. Now we're going to add some cornstarch and my Rockin' Pork Star barbecue rub, and get this seasoned up, stirred up, and then we'll patty it out and put it into the freezer for a bit. Now we add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, which will serve as our binder. 2 tablespoons of barbecue rub, and now we want to mix this thoroughly with 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Cover the meat with plastic, and I'm going to put it back in the fridge for about an hour before I patty it up. And now we start making the patties. And with just under 2 pounds of meat, we came out with 6 pretty generous sized patties. Definitely much bigger than what you get on a McDonald's McRib. Now we're going to separate these out and put them back into the freezer for just 5-10 minutes. Give them a chance to firm up before we start frying them up. If you want the rib bone look, you can take a wooden spoon. I learned this off Harry Soo's video. And press in the rib bone look. Kind of like this. And you get those rib ridges. And that's what they look like with the ridges in them. Now, cut some fresh onion and pickle slices to go with your sandwiches. And get ready to start frying the patties up. Put a couple tablespoons of olive oil or your favorite cooking oil into a fry pan, and this happens to be a 12-inch. And once it comes to heat, then pull your first few patties out of the freezer and get them into the pan. Okay, took the first 3 patties out, and we're going to get these started first. And we get the sizzle on with the pork McRib type patties. And those are looking pretty spiffy. While we're at it, put a little sauce on the bottom of the bun. Get them ready for patties when they're finished cooking. And put it on the bun, put on some sauce, and put on your fixings. And voila, it's a homemade McRib. And throw on some fries. And look at that. Pretty tasty little meal. Or at least we're hoping so.
See your West Michigan Buick dealer today.